Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Plant Systematics class with the discussion of Family Apiaceae. We have discussed inflorescence in the previous video, and in this video we are going to take a look at flower and various parts of the flower. Now, as far as flower of the family Apiaceae is concerned, so it is a complete flower. The flower is complete. Now, what does it mean by complete? When all the parts of the flower are present. All the floral parts are present. That is, sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels, or calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. And all the floral parts are present, so the flower is said to be complete. So, all the floral parts, so we have all calyx and corolla, androecium, and finally gynoecium. So when all of them are present, the flower is said to be complete. Next is the symmetry of the flower, which is actinomorphic. So complete, all the floral parts are present, and then we have symmetry of the flower, and it is actinomorphic. Actinomorphic flower is the one which has radial symmetry. So what does it mean by radial symmetry? So let's take a look at a diagram. So here it is an actinomorphic flower. So let's enlarge it a little, and as you can see, this is a petunia flower, and it is radially symmetrical. Now these dotted lines indicate the plane. If we cut through these planes, any of these planes like this one or this one, the flower will cut it into two equal parts. So whatever the plane might be, if we cut it like this or this plane, all the planes, so we'll get two equal parts. So if a flower can be cut into two equal parts, then it is an actinomorphic, two equal parts from any plane. If a flower, I repeat, if a flower is cut into two equal parts from any plane, then it is said to be actinomorphic, and its symmetry, as I just told you, it is radial symmetry. So radial petunia flower, like for example we have rose, it has also radial symmetry, so we can cut it into two equal parts. So the flowers, most of the flowers of family Apiaceae or Umbelliferae, they have actinomorphic symmetry or radial symmetry. However, in some cases, like in coriander or some others, the outer flowers of an umbel, they are usually male, and their petals get enlarged. So if the petals are all equal size, for example like this one, so we have an actinomorphic shape. But if some of the petals get enlarged, suppose like this, so the other petals are of smaller size. Now this makes the flower somewhat what we call zygomorphic. That is a flower in which we can cut it into two equal parts through one plane only, unlike the actinomorphic. So in Apiaceae, sometimes the outer flowers, which are male, and outer petals of those flowers, they get enlarged and making the flower look like a zygomorphic flower, as I just told you. For example, if they are enlarged and the rest of the petals are small, so it gives a zygomorphic shape to the flower. So this was symmetry of the flower. It is actinomorphic. It is bisexual, small, and epigynous. So next is the flower is bisexual. So it's a very simple term, bisexual. That is, since it is a complete flower, so it is carrying both the male part stamen and the female part carpel. So this is bisexual. When both the male and female parts are present in the flower, it is bisexual, a very simple term. And there is nothing much to explain in it. Then as far as their size is concerned, they are relatively small flowers. So most of the flowers in family Apiaceae, they are small sized flower. So that is a very basic term or simple term, size of the flower. So most of the flowers are small. As far as the insertion of the floral leaves on the thalamus is concerned, next term is Epigynus. We have already discussed it when we were discussing the distinguishing characters of the family, Epigynus. Now, this is a thalamus, and these are various floral parts borne on the thalamus. So as you can see, it's a very basic flower, diagrammatic. This is the outer whorl of the flower, which is calyx. Then we have corolla, and then we have the androecium, and then we have the gynoecium, the carpels. So very basic flower. Now, in this particular diagram, this is the thalamus, and the floral parts are inserted on the thalamus, and it has three varieties: hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. Now this gyne, this word refers to gynoecium, ovary. Now this is the ovary, as we know, the floral parts. The fourth whorl of the flower, which is carpel or gynoecium. So it has three parts: the basal swollen portion, ovary, and then a short stalk-like structure, the style, and then we have stigma. Now, whether the floral parts are below the ovary or above the ovary, so we have these terms: hypogynous, hypo, below, and epi, above. This is a hypogynous flower, which I have just drawn. But in some cases, this is thalamus. Now this time the margins of the thalamus have grown upward, and they form a cup-like structure. Now this is thalamus. These margins of the thalamus, they grow upwards like this, and they fuse at the top. Now what happens, that ovary, it arises from the base of the cup. So here is the ovary. The style comes out of this small opening, which is between these fused margins, and the style is projected above it. Now, where does the other floral parts come from? They arise at the top of these fused margins. So we have sepals, then we have calyx, corolla, and then we have stamens. So we have sepals, we have petals, and then we have stamens. So now you can see that the floral parts, they seem to arise from top of the ovary. Ovary is below and the floral parts are arising above the ovary at the top of the thalamus. Now this is a cross section. We have cut the flower to show you the ovary, just like in the flower of rose. So in family Apiaceae, now this condition is known as Epigynus. So in the family Apiaceae, the insertion of the floral leaves on the thalamus, it is neither hypogynous nor perigynous, it is epigynous. So this is epigynous condition in which the floral leaves, the three whorls, they arise on top of the ovary, and ovary at the base of a cup, which is formed by the margins of the thalamus, which grow upward. They form a cup-like structure and then they fuse, and the style comes out of those fused margins. Obviously, if the style and the stigma and the ovary, if they remain inside the cup, like this, for example, this is, let's draw it again. So this is the fused margins. Now if this is the style, stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovary. Now if they remain inside, so it's of no use because the pollination will not take place. So obviously this is totally nonsense. So the style comes out, however the ovary remains at the base of the cup, and all the floral parts, they arise above the ovary. So this is epigynous condition. So the flower is epigynous. So what we have seen today, actinomorphic flowers, the symmetry of the flower is radial. It can be cut into two equal halves from any plane. It is complete, carrying all the floral parts, sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels. It is bisexual. Both the sexes are present, carpels and stamens. And however, one thing that we have skipped or missed as far as this bisexual term is concerned, flowers are bisexuals, but bisexual flowers, but sometimes it may be unisexual. Sometimes it may be unisexual. So when it is unisexual, either of the sex will be present. In one flower, you will either find stamen or carpel. So either you will find in a flower stamen or carpel, neither both, because it is a unisexual flower. So some of the flowers will contain stamens only, and other flowers contain carpels only. So mostly it is a bisexual flower, but sometimes it is unisexual flower. Flowers are small as far as their size is concerned. They are epigynous, as the floral parts are born above the ovary, as we have just seen. We have discussed it. And so final term about the flower is, this will be number 6, I think, pentamerous. So what is pentamerous? This is what I have told you already. MER, part, penta 5. So it is, or what it means, all the floral parts, either they are 5, 5, 5, 5 or multiple of 5. Multiple of 5. So it will be 5 sepals, 5 petals, 5 stamens, and 5 carpels, or it may be multiple of 5. So we have 5 petals or 10 petals, or we have 15 petals or 10 stamens or 10 petals, and so forth. So it is pentamerous, 5 or multiple of 5. So this was the discussion of the flower of the family Apiaceae. So in the next video, we are going to take a look at its calyx and corolla, androecium and gynoecium, and so forth. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.